Hi, I'm Karan Bose, founder of Hula Global. We are full package clothing suppliers to many well known fashion brands. What full package supplier actually means is we take care of everything for our brands from end to end, which means the time they define their samples to the door delivery, we take care of everything in between stitching, fabrics, yarn, dyeing, printing, all of those things. Now, we have been running our vendor onboarding process for last 3 years, and this video is going to be in a combination of English and Hindi. There is a separate video I did 2 years ago. You can go and check that out, where we talk more in details of how we work with factories, how we help them get buyers, and what is our role in that. So I'm not going to get into the details of what has been done and dusted for us in last 3 years, but for today's video I just want to make sure that you understand that what we do. So please, there is enough information online: Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. Use anything that you want to look us up, what kind of brands we work with are. The brands that we work with, it's already a public information, it's there on our website. I would recommend that you go and check them out as well. Today's process is basically a streamlining of our onboarding process. We are now working very selectively with factories. Earlier we had 3 different programs how you can register with us, but now we are having only one. In terms of programs that we run for our brand owners, there are educational programs. So there's masterclass bootcamp that is for early stage fashion brand owners. Then there is build program, which is co-pilot, private label manufacturing, custom manufacturing program. Then we also have a liquidation program for discounters. We have other innovation projects also going on, like inventory buyback, digital product passport. We are going to talk about those things as well. But essentially today, the goal of this video is to talk about our partner factories and potential factories. So let's get into that first. So even if we take Hula Global out of the equation and just think about what a typical Indian garment exporter, how they get B2B business leads or inquiries. Number one, of course, is trade expos. So you visit a trade fair, you talk to buyers who visit your stall, and that's how you build those connections. Now, the problem for this kind of work is that you need to pay for flight, you need to pay for your accommodation, you also need to pay for the booth space that you are exhibiting. So with all that expense, it is not always there that you might end up with a relevant buyer. I have been to some of these trade shows and I have seen people come up to us asking for 50 pieces or 30 pieces or 100 pieces MOQ, which is, absolutely crazy. So that is one big challenge. The second challenge that is there is marketplaces. So if you are an Indian exporter, you might have registered or tried your hands with Alibaba or India Mart or Trade India or any of these marketplaces. They will generate volumes of inquiries. Most of it is spam. Conversion, again, it's a questionable thing. Nobody really knows how good the conversion is, because they are selling you a subscription plan, and once that subscription is sold, they really don't care, any of these marketplaces. So that's the thing. Now, the third way how many factories actually get their B2B lead generation is through buying agents. Now, there are good buying agents and not so good buying agents, but essentially the math does not work out. So think of a typical purchase order, $50,000 of value, and with 5% buying agent margin, that is $2,500. Now, this is the amount a buying agent makes, probably in best case scenario, when you ship the goods on time and you get paid on time. Now, in order to service a $50,000 worth of order, you must have put in $40,000 value of inventory risk and other things. Now, if for any reason the order goes sideways, for whatever reason, of course, businesses have their risk, the buying agent loses $2,500, but you probably, assuming you are operating at best case scenario of 20% margin, you are losing $40,000. So essentially the math is not mathing. The math is not working out properly in buying agent scenario or a commission agent scenario. And this is pretty much very similar to having your own sales person involved. You can do it, but again, like, you need to be at a certain scale to able to justify a full-time sales manager or a business head cost. Now, why this video? If you are a brand factory owner and you don't need business at all, like you are quite happy with what you have, this video is not for you. There is nothing we can do. But in our previous vendor onboarding video, I have shared our screen literally, and I have shown how many orders we have, how many inquiries we have, and this is, all the inquiries that we have and that we pass on to our factories. They have, filtered out all the right answers, and only those who qualify, the buyers who qualify, we think they are the relevant buyers, we send those queries to factories that are onboarded with us. So that is how typically we work. Again, all those CRMs and all those things, I literally share my screen and show you in that video. I'm not going to cover it in this video, so please go and check that video out. But essentially this video is for anyone who wants to grow their business, add more customers, and at the same time they are not someone who's saying that I don't want to add more clients. So if you don't want to add more clients, it's fine. There are many actually. They are quite happy with what they want to do. I know one factory owner, their kids don't want to take up the business and they are about to retire, so they really don't want. So everyone has their reason. So if your reason is I don't want to add more clients for whatever reason it is, good for you. But if you do want to add more clients, if you want to get more buyers that are relevant to your product and in terms of volumes they are relevant, then this entire video is for you. So in the past we had 3 programs. Now we only have one, gold. Price remains the same what was 3 years ago because dollar has gone up, so this is there. In terms of our offering, we are doing trade marketing. So we do the buyer outreach for you, number one. So you don't really need to have a marketing team or business generation team for your factory. We are the B2B lead generation and trade marketing company for you. Then we have focus on closure. So these India Marts, Alibabas of the world are there. They are not focused on closure. They don't have enough incentive to close on their behalf. So that's why they don't focus on closure. We focus on closure, and I will explain you why. Because we become your buyers. So for the brand, we are the actual liability holders. Whether the delivery is not happening on time, whether the fabric is messed up, whether the yarns are having any problem or there is a stitching defect, they hold us accountable. But for you, we are the buyers. So that is why I said focus is always on closure. Now other part that we have is logistics. We do door-to-door delivery. So there have been many factory owners who lost deals because they could not do a DTP costing or a door-to-door costing, and they were not very sure about the pricing itself, and they lost buyers. So we do this logistics, and we also do financing. So if a brand is a right brand, there are certain conditions. Of course, they have to have 2 years of working relationship with us. Credit terms are, they need to have a very good credit score and all that. So we do those verifications. If the buyer requires financing, we will do that. If the buyer works on LC, we will do that. So that financing piece, the payment terms piece, is taken care by us. We also have some interesting pilot projects. Trade assurance program is already live. Digital product passport, we are working with a European brand. If you are not familiar with DPPs, digital product passport, it's just like a human passport but for product. So it just tells you every detail of your product, where the yarn came from, where your stitching has been done, where the printing, where the trims, where the buttons. So that's basically the DPP. And once the DPP is done, we can also do inventory buyback. which means the unsold inventory. We are piloting that as well. So those two projects are in, I would say, pilot. But trade assurance is live. In trade assurance, let's say you have a buyer in US, they don't, trust whether you will deliver on time or with the right quality, and you on the other hand don't trust the buyer with payments. If you send the goods or if you finish the production also, they will pay the remaining part of your purchase order. So this is where the trade assurance comes in. The buyer deposits the amount in a escrow account, and we pay you provided you complete the buyer conditions, on time delivery and all the other QC inspection reports and all. So for trade assurance, you don't need to be a vendor of Hula Global. You can directly use our trade assurance program. In fact, if you are a vendor of Hula Global, if you are part of this program, you will not be able to take trade assurance, because trade assurance only works when we are a neutral party. We are not your buyer. So that will happen when we are a neutral party. Absolutely. So that's one thing. Now let's get into the vendor onboarding process. The vendor onboarding process for Hula Global is fairly very long and very intense. As you can see from the screen, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 different steps that are involved. The first step is identity. We need to know your company name, your ownership structure, factory address, products that you're doing, that you specialize in, how many employees you have, revenue in last 2 years, and the revenue percentage that is export of that revenue. So this helps us to understand whether we can even onboard you or not. The next steps happen after you pay the fees. But before that, I want to talk about eligibility. So for any factory to be eligible for us to work with, you need to have a minimum of 5 years of experience. You need to have at least 5 verified export buyers. Again, these are minimum. So on an average, all the factories that we work with, the lowest right now has 12 years of experience. So just giving you an idea. Minimum is that under this threshold, we won't be entertaining your application. Then we need 3 positive buyer references, which means they should be able to talk about you in a positive way. And when we have these buyer references, we sign an NDA and non-compete clause. Like when you are providing your buyer names and everything, we are not supposed to contact them for work, but we will contact them to check whether the working experience with you was right or not. So these are the hardcore factual things that will decide your eligibility. The qualitative aspect, so these are quantitative aspects. The qualitative aspects would be the owner, where they are involved. So in the past, we have onboarded a lot of vendors where the factory owner had no clue. They probably made business in bricks or some agriculture or something like that, and then they opened garment manufacturing unit, and for everything they would depend on the merchant or some marketing guy. And the problem with this kind of setup is that often the marketing guy or someone they really trust, because they are from the same whatever neighborhood or village, what happens is most of the time this marketing or merchandising person is also skimming something over the top, and we are not able to convert. So being an owner, if you are not involved, our vendor onboarding program is not the right fit for you. If you cannot hold a garment and say, I know iski costing itni aani chahiye. So as a business owner, if you cannot hold the product and say, okay, I know this is this yarn, this is the thread count, this is the fabric, I have made this product hundreds of times, iski costing itni hi honi chahiye. If you are not someone who can say that, okay, this is the product I have and I know this is the cost, and you don't have that conviction and you are dependent on a merchant or a marketing manager or someone to tell you what is the cost of these products, which you claim to be your expertise, I'm sorry, but we will not be able to work, because constantly you will be seeking counsel for someone who is your employee, and it has not always worked out positively for us. So we would avoid every factory where owner is not actively involved in day-to-day operation. So that's a hard no for us. Even if you are willing to pay the fees, which by the way, many factory owners that did in the past, they thought they will pay the fees and be done with it. That's not how it works. Okay, so the identity piece of the information is when we require that information before onboarding, because we cannot get you buyers for every product. For example, there is this leather purse which Kate Spade does, and this is not possible to do. There are actually very few brands who are specializing in this. So like, we guarantee you a certain number of buyers every quarter, and if the universe of your product is so small and very niche, there is nothing much we can do. So your product has to have a wider appeal and a range where we can see many buyers and we can bring those buyers for you. So that's why before verification, before getting a go ahead from my team, do not make the payment. So the identity piece is the segment where you send your information, we verify, okay, we have buyers, we can get you orders. Then only you proceed with the payment. Once you pay, your sign up is complete. All the other steps follow. Capacity, machinery, compliance, experience, buyer verification, pricing, all those things will happen. Just to give you an idea what each of those are, I will get into the details. But अभी के लिए आप ये समझ लो कि आइडेंटिटी वाला वेरिफिकेशन बेसिक की आपकी फैक्ट्री क्या करती है, कहाँ पे है, कौन है उसके डायरेक्टर्स, ओनर्स, बेसिक KYC के बाद हम आपको कंफर्म करते हैं कि हम आपके लिए बायर्स कर भी पाएंगे या नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो नाउ दिस इज द पार्ट जहाँ पे लोग ड्रॉप ऑफ होते हैं, और whichever is the reason for them. We have a fees. We have $1,500 per quarter. This is refundable and adjusted with your PO, and the fees is applicable every quarter. So if this quarter you sign up, you pay the fees, and we are not able to close any order, but you think there can be a closure a couple of months further down the line, then again you will have to pay the next quarter's fees. The quarter where you convert the order is adjusted, but the quarters where you do not convert, it is not adjusted. So that's how the fees structure works. Now in terms of capacity, again this is just a snapshot, broad idea what kind of information we need. So we need your product category, you have to upload the reference images of the products that you have done, actual samples, monthly capacity, number of machines. We tie it up to your actual number of machines. We'll talk about that later, but yeah, roughly your number of machines versus factory images, your production capacity, your lead time, all those questions have to be answered. Typically this takes like 3 to 4 days at your end, and it takes like another 3 to 4 days at our end. So I would say this is just 1 week. Then you can combine this information with machinery information so that they are combined together. We should know what capabilities you have, and then we have compliances. We verify the compliances. Ideally, a bare minimum is SEDEX, but if you have better GOTS or others, they are most welcome. If you do not have any compliance, it's going to be very hard sell for us. Again, it would all depend on your current buyer profile. So this goes to your experience. This is where we actually evaluate you in terms of your past performance. अगर last 3 साल 5 साल में आपके एक set of buyers रहे हैं, our program is to get similar buyers for you. Our program is not to help you expand from 300 machine setup to 1000 machine setup. That's not what the program is. Our program is आपको 100 machines का अगर आपका सेटअप है और आपने एक सर्टेन वॉल्यूम ऑफ बायर्स किए हैं, तो आपको सिमिलर बायर्स ही हम लाने की पूरी कोशिश करते हैं. दिस इज वेयर दैट बायर वेरिफिकेशन process happens. So we take information from you, your BL, your shipping bill, all those things, and then we do our due diligence. We verify. In case if, and this has happened many times, that कोई marketing वाले ने, merchandising वाले ने बोल दिया अरे एक फर्जी सा ये buyer डाल दो, we will manage the documentation. हम लोग document verification के टाइम पे flag करते हैं. We come back to you, we say that we are not able to verify. You can provide a different buyer जिसका आपके पास डॉक्यूमेंट है, वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं थ्रू शिपिंग बिल्स, BL एंड अदर थिंग्स. देन ऑफ कोर्स यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम. बट अगर किसी बायर का वेरीफाई नहीं कर पा रहे तो दैट बायर इज इररिलेवेंट. सो इफ यू हैव sold it to their local agent in India and you just have a e-way bill that we cannot verify, I think that makes no sense for us. So वी वेरीफाई दैट, एंड इन केस बार बार आपका बायर वेरिफिकेशन फेल हो जाता है, वी एवरीथिंग इज डॉक्यूमेंटेड. Our verification team only communicates through email, not on call. That is because we want to document everything. So अगर आपका बार बार verification fail हो जाता है, that is part of our service agreement. Your fees will not be refundable. Now we also require pricing, which is the last step. So we want you to provide us the pricing of the products that you have done in the past. So you will have your FOBs and everything, but we also want a pricing curve. Pricing curve मतलब, let's say you have done a t-shirt for 10,000 units. So we want a pricing curve same product पे कि अगर वो 5,000 पे क्या होगा और 20,000 पे क्या होगा. So we need to have that pricing curve from you, and the reason is we would be able to quote buyers right away with that pricing curve information. Similarly आप fabrics जहाँ से sourcing करते हैं उन आपके downstream suppliers का, तो some of that information is going to be part of your vendor onboarding process. Now if you see the entire chart of things, historically in best case scenario it takes 2 to 3 weeks at your end to finish, and it takes around 2 weeks at our end to finish. So this entire process after the sign up, after you have paid the fees, लगभग 1 महीना मान के चलिए लग जाता है. Sometimes it goes longer. Okay, so in your quarterly fees in 3 months already 1 महीना चला गया है, right? So that brings me to the expectation, which is on an average what we have seen in last 2-3 years is that typically it takes 2 quarters to close, like 6 months approximately it takes, because first month, in fact many buyers start responding to us after the second month. Okay, तो ऐसा भी कई बार हुआ है कि थर्ड मंथ आते आते सैम्पलिंग स्टेज में बट बात रुक गई और आपकी तरफ से भी रिन्यूअल नहीं आया, तो हमने भी फिर वहां पे एफर्ट नहीं डाला, एनर्जी नहीं डाली. सो माई रिकमेंडेशन वुड बी टू प्लान फॉर 6 months. अगेन द रीजन हमने इसको 6 monthly फी नहीं किया है, बिकॉज जो एफर्ट जाता है आपको भी वो दिख रहा होगा और अब आपको लगना चाहिए कि यू वांट टू टेक अ फाइनल कॉल टू प्रोसीड विद अस और नॉट. नाउ every quarter we guarantee you certain things that we will make sure that we deliver. Number one, we will bring you buyers and inquiries from buyers which are similar to the brands and products and volumes you have done. So if you have been doing only 5,000 units kind of purchase orders, I'm not going to get you 50,000 piece unit का purchase order. So it will be similar. 5,000 का 4,700 भी हो सकता है, 6,000 भी हो सकता है, 8,000 भी हो सकता है, but 50,000 नहीं होगा. You can say कि my capacity is 80,000 units but I was able to do 5,000. That can be verified. तो मेरे लिए आप 5,000 यूनिट वाला ही फैक्ट्री हो. Okay, so our commitment would be to get you similar buyers. Our commitment will not be कि आप 5,000 यूनिट करते हो हम आपके लिए 50,000 यूनिट वाले बायर लेके आएंगे, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. I am just giving you very realistic information. Second is the kind of buyers we work with. We prioritize annual contract. The reason being हमारा भी renewal बार बार आपसे होता रहेगा. Entire time the buyer is working with us. You are getting an invoice from us about your quarterly fees renewal. That will be automatically set. उसमें मैं और आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Now वी ऑल्सो सपोर्ट, मैंने जैसे बताया कि लॉजिस्टिक्स एंड फाइनेंसिंग एंड बाकी चीजों में वो सारा आपको सपोर्ट मिलेगा. व्हाट वी कैन नॉट डू, गारंटी ऑर्डर क्लोजर. ऑर्डर क्लोजर आपके ऊपर है. आपका सैम्पलिंग नहीं हुआ, आपका सैम्पलिंग में कमी रह गई, आपके सैंपल्स जो मांगे थे वो नहीं थे, स्पेक्स के अलग ही थे, वी कैन नॉट गारंटी यू एनी क्लोजर इन दोस केसेस. समटाइम्स बायर्स ऑल्सो घोस्ट, लाइक दे आर टॉकिंग टू अस एंड दे आर टॉकिंग टू समवन एल्स एज वेल एट द सेम टाइम एंड दे घोस्ट. आपके साथ भी बहुत बार हुआ है, तो those are outside of our control. Now we also cannot approve the samples on our end. So कई बार ऐसा हुआ है कि लोगों ने बोला है कि अरे आप तो फाइनली क्लोजर पे फोकस करते हो और आप मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर हो तो आप हमारे बायर ही हो, तो आप ही अप्रूव कर दो. प्रॉब्लम हमारे अप्रूवल का नहीं है. वी कैनॉट अप्रूव ऑन आवर बायर्स बिहाफ. सो सारे सैंपल्स, पीपी सैंपल्स, एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी अप्रूव्ड बाय बायर. ऑन पेपर वी बिकम योर बायर एंड दे बिकम आवर बायर, बट एसेंशियली मैकेनिक वाइज, अप्रूवल्स वाइज जो चीज उनको चाहिए, मैं आपके सैंपल्स अपने घर में थोड़ी प्रोडक्शन करा के बैठूंगा. सो दिस इज जस्ट बीइंग अस रीजनेबल एंड मेकिंग श्योर दैट आप ये चीज को समझ रहे. क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है, ड्यूरिंग द फ्लो, ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस आपके मन में ये बात आई जाती है कि सारा अप्रूवल तो हुला ग्लोबल के ऑफिस से ही हो रहा है, सो ये लोग क्यों नहीं मेरा ये फाइनल साइज सेट अप्रूव कर रहे हैं, या फिर ये लोग मेरे लैब डिप्स क्यों नहीं अप्रूव कर रहे हैं. हम कुछ भी नहीं करते हैं, हम फॉरवर्ड करते हैं, बायर अप्रूव करता है. अप्रूवल इज नॉट विद इन आवर पावर्स. ओके, आई ऑल्सो वांट टू इंश्योर, मैंने आपको एलिजिबिलिटी पहले बताई कि क्या क्या है, कौन कौन हमारे लिए एलिजिबल है। इन सब के बावजूद आई वांट टू मेक श्योर दैट आप सारे एलिजिबिलिटीज को मीट कर रहे हो, बट फिर भी यू कुड बी अ रॉन्ग फिट। और अगर आपको लगता है कि यू कुड बी अ रॉन्ग फिट, आप प्लीज मत अप्लाई करो। सबसे पहला है, यू आर अ फैक्ट्री दैट इज रेगुलरली गोइंग टू ट्रेड, एक्सपोज, मार्केटिंग, और आपका पूरा फोकस वहीं पे है। आपको लगता है कि यार यहाँ से धंधा आएगा और मुझे ये करना है, क्योंकि कोई फायदा नहीं है कि आप हमारे को भी एज अ मार्केटिंग चैनल चलाओ और 4 अलग चीजें चलाओ। वी वांट यू टू फोकस ऑन ऑपरेशन, क्योंकि अगर आप जितना ट्रेड एक्सपो पे जाओगे तो आप हमारे जो ऑर्डर्स है, आप ना तो उनके सैंपल्स अप्रूव करा पाओगे, ना आप हमारे प्रोडक्शन को टाइम पे दे पाओगे। दिस वी हैव सीन इन लास्ट 2-3 years. So factories who pay the vendor onboarding fees with us, they are also doing trade marketing and everything. And eventually जब मैं उनको कॉल करता हूँ तो सर मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हूँ, सर मैं यहाँ यूएस आ गया हूँ, मैं सर यहाँ अभी फ्रांस के एक एग्जीबिशन में आ गया हूँ, तो वो दुनिया भ्रमण में ही लग जाते हैं। सो इफ यू आर समवन हु इज, अगेन आई एम नॉट कमेंटिंग कि ये सही तरीका है कि ये सही तरीका नहीं है, बट इफ यू आर समवन जिसको ट्रेड एक्सपोज में जाके धंधा लाना है, बिजनेस लाना है, यू शुड नॉट वर्क विद अस। जस्ट डुप्लीकेशन ऑफ एफर्ट। सेकंड, आपके लिए बायर रिलेशनशिप प्रायोरिटी है। आपको लगता है कि नहीं हम तो डायरेक्ट बायर ही करना चाहते हैं, तो डायरेक्ट बायर करना चाहते हैं तो ये वाला प्लान आपके लिए नहीं है। आप अपना इन्वेस्ट करिए, अपने सेल्स फोर्स में इन्वेस्ट करिए, आप अपने ट्रेड एक्सपोज में इन्वेस्ट करिए, अपने रिलेशनशिप में इन्वेस्ट करिए, एंड यू डू दैट। दिस एंटायर प्रोग्राम इज फॉर फैक्ट्री ओनर्स हु want to be operationally involved in their business, who are so occupied with the operations कि they need a marketing support, external support like us to bring in those orders. उन्होंने तय कर लिया मुझे दुनिया भ्रमण नहीं करना है, उन्होंने तय कर लिया मुझे पैसा आना चाहिए, बायर रिलेशनशिप से मुझे कोई चिकचिकबाजी नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को आई डोंट इवन वांट टू गेट इनटू मैनेजिंग कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप, ना मैं अपने सीआरएम का कोई टूल खरीदना चाहता हूँ, ना मैं कुछ करना चाहता हूँ। आप मैनेज करो मेरे लिए। आपके पास सीआरएम टूल बने हुए हैं, आपके पास सारे बायर्स बने हुए हैं, आपके पास सारी उनकी हिस्ट्री है, आप ही मैनेज करो। दैट इज द राइट आइडियल कस्टमर फॉर अस in this vendor onboarding process. They are the right fit, they are the right factory for us. Now in terms of sampling cost, we exclude that. For every inquiry we tell you इसका sampling cost paid होगा, तो हम करवाते हैं। अगर सैम्पलिंग कॉस्ट पेड नहीं है हम आपको बोल देते हैं। इट इज एंटायरली अप टू यू। एवरी मंथ यू गेट अ रिपोर्ट दैट दीज आर द 3 or 4 बायर्स वी गेव एंड दिस इज द करंट स्टेटस। वो हमारे सीआरएम से ऑटो जनरेट होता है। द डे दैट यू हैव पेड दैट बिकम्स योर स्टार्ट डेट, और उसी दिन एवरी मंथ आपका एक ईमेल जाता है, वो ऑटोमेशन है। नाउ I want to talk about some frequently asked questions. The first is, what happens if I don't get any order? Well, the fees is non-reimbursable in nature. We write it everywhere. We have a specific PDF download जहाँ पे ये पूरी सारी चीजें legal wording के साथ है. Because the effort to onboard you has already been spent. So if the orders are not closing, they are not closing. We tried. Number 2, if orders close after 3 months, 4 months, and you are not there, we will tell you that order close होने वाला है, आप देख लीजिए आपको करना है या नहीं। आपको लगता है कि नहीं मुझे नहीं करना है, तो then that is gone. On an average we have seen, मैंने आपको वीडियो की स्टार्टिंग में बताया, मिनिमम 6 months लगता ही है। किसी किसी का 4th-5th मंथ में हुआ है, किसी का 3rd मंथ में भी हुआ है। On an average it is 6 months, किसी का 8-9 मंथ में भी हुआ है। Okay, so this is entirely not in our hand. जैसे भी orders close होंगे we will communicate to you, but that's how it is. We have a separate video जहाँ पे I walk you through our system, CRM, कितने inquiries है, क्या है। तो वो capability देखने के लिए वो 2 साल पुराना वीडियो है, वो आज भी relevant है। इनफैक्ट अभी तो और भी हमारे systems में they are much more stable and much more volume oriented. So if you are someone who says कि I want help, this is the right program. If you are someone who says I can do it myself, fair enough. So if you have more questions, please reach out to us, vendor@Hula Global or hello@Hula Global, whichever works for you. I will try my best to answer your questions, but our vendor onboarding team does like everything on email. So please WhatsApp, email, whatever you feel like. Just make sure that you contact us if you have any questions, and we're here to help. I hope I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much for watching and all the best.